Hi, and welcome to this episode of Rare Book Chat. I'm thinking about buying a Bible.
Okay. I mean, that's not unusual for most people. It might be unusual for you.
It is. I don't have a Bible. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Yes, you do.
I don't. Well, maybe I'd have somebody else's Bible, but I don't have one of my own. And this wouldn't be my own Bible either if I bought it, but I'm really intrigued by it.
What is that? Once you buy it, it's your Bible.
Well, I wouldn't be. That's a good thing to say. If I do buy this Bible, I'd be buying it because it was somebody else's Bible.
All right, you got to take me along with you here.
Okay, Mick Jagger's childhood Holy Bible is coming up for sale.
Yeah,
and I think it's funny and cute and interesting.
Mick Jagger's not cute. He's not funny. A Bible's not cute. A Bible's not funny. So how do you get funny and cute?
I don't know. I think Mick Jagger's like this swaggering symbol of 60s, 70s counterculture, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, all sorts of, maybe over the line stuff. And then so here's his Bible coming up for sale from when he was a young lad, and I'm sure they called him lad. It's endearing. It's interesting.
Give me some details.
It's coming up for sale at Eubanks in the UK.
Yeah.
And the estimate is £4,000 to £6,000. I think it's interesting. I mean, and I wrestle with this question. I'm asking myself, why is it interesting?
Or maybe it's not interesting.
But it's beaten up and it's in really poor shape. And inside it says in Jagger's handwriting as a child, it says Michael Jagger, Dartford Grammar School, Form 2B, written in pencil.
But you forgot below this is C.D. Jagger, which is his younger brother Chris's.
His younger brother, right. But it's cool. It's a family Bible. It's Mick Jagger's Bible. It's his brother Chris. He had the Bible too. And
this is not doing it for me.
No? In the provenance, it says that this Bible was found many years later in Jagger's childhood home after he had moved. It was found by the new property owners then. And then it says it has since been stored for 30 years and now comes to the market for the first time.
All right, speak to me honestly. What does this do for you? Because I really don't get it.
You don't get
it's
it?
Not like it's like the Bible. We've no evidence that the Bible was important to Mick.
No, that's really true. Right. But we do have evidence that Mick was very interested in doing all sorts of unholy things. And I think it's really cool as a before and after piece. And, Mick Jagger went to the London School of Economics and was a good student.
Really?
Yeah. And
still not connected to the Bible, though.
Well, it's the before and after thing. He had a life that preceded the rock and roll superstar that we all kind of know him as. And he was a young boy with a tidy little script in this book. And he went off to...
Did he annotate it? See, that'd be interesting.
Doesn't look like it. But he had it.
That makes me think about what Bible would I want from a famous person. Pope Leo's Bible. See, that's what I'm talking about. A Bible that someone actually learned from. See?
How do you know he didn't? We don't know. Tell me, this is not interesting to you at all. This is nothing.
I don't get any emotional connection to this. I guess, I don't know.
Well, okay, let's imagine you're a Mick Jagger fan.
Like, because it doesn't connect to him. Like,
to me, it does.
It seems random to me.
It's random?
It seems random. Looks like a piece of garbage, too, I gotta say.
I think my interest is amplified by the fact that Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones wrote songs like Sympathy for the Devil, and they did all sorts of drugs and had wild, crazy rock and roll careers.
So it's ironic, maybe.
It's a little ironic, yeah. But it's also,
I'm a fan of irony.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I could see that appeal.
There you go.
Nah, it doesn't do it for me.
It does nothing?
I'd have to be a really intense Rolling Stones fan.
There are a lot of really intense Rolling Stones fans. I'm not trying to sell this to you.
You're asking me.
I'm not trying to sell this to you.
I can only voice my opinion.
Yeah.
I can't voice your opinion. I mean, I can, but it'd be wrong.
I think it's interesting. I think it's...
You know what I think it is?
What?
A curiosity.
That's exactly what it is. And there are many curiosities in the rare book market. I'm not saying that I would buy this Bible and go write a treatise about the importance of this Bible.
Well, I think you are going to do that.
Okay, let me ask you this: how bad is this? I mean, is this objectionable? Like, should this not exist? I mean,
Here. If you didn't champion it,
Mhm.
I would have just kind of okay. Next lot,
Yeah.
which happens to be Chris Jagger's Bible. Starting at 100 pounds, was starting at 100 and 140
Get a whole collection going.
pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you bought mixed, you buy. Oh, poor Chris. He's gonna look like nothing next to this.
You don't think? I think Chris is used to it by now, but being overshadowed by his brother. I think.
Like many years ago, we had Tolkien's Bible, and it had the
Mhm.
family genealogy there. Tolkien genealogy. It's not a stretch to realize how influential. Like that I thought was amazing. I'm not getting it with Mick.
I don't know. I
So I can
I
call
always
him
kind of
Mick.
it's a curiosity. You're right, and I think that if you were a
Whose
Rolling
Bible
Stones
would you
fan,
really want? I'm still trying to think about this.
Charles Darwin's Bible.
Oh, that's a good one. That's good. In fact,
Yeah.
that's outstanding.
That's the one I want. Okay, you do not like, obviously, Mick Jagger's Bible. I mean, that's just
Does nothing for me.
does nothing for. I have a Bible for you then that might be more interesting.
Not Charles Darwin's.
Not Charles Darwin's. How about Harry Houdini's Bible?
See, that's interesting.
Why is that interesting?
I don't know, but it's interesting. It hits me as interesting.
Now, I'm getting the feeling that maybe you prefer Harry Houdini to Mick Jagger.
Yes. Harry Houdini, I don't know, he's almost like a mythological creature.
I have to admit, I'm not that into magic.
What do you have no sense of wonder? That's just wrong. There's
What
like
do you mean it's
there's
wrong?
joy in magic.
There's joy in the Rolling Stones. I don't despise it, but I'm just,
I don't
it's not
think
like
you've ever seen a really good magic show.
I don't go around seeking out magic. Some people do, some people don't. How do you
Wow.
know if I've ever seen a magic show?
Because then you wouldn't say such a ridiculous thing.
Okay, this is becoming very personal. I just want to go back to the Houdini Bible, and
I'm not looking at you a little differently now.
I think this is something that you're gonna like. The Houdini
Yeah,
Bible.
because I like magic. But there's more than that with Houdini. There's wonder. There's going beyond limits of what people can do. There's wonder. That's what it comes down to.
Okay.
I like to feel wonder.
Okay. So, the Houdini Bible, I think this is more up your alley. Number one, you like Houdini and you don't like Mick Jagger.
I didn't say I don't like Mick Jagger.
Number two, you like wonder.
Yeah, when you tell Houdini stories, you tell things that are amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to feel amazed.
I know. Anyway, the Houdini Bible sold in 2021 at Potter & Potter auctions, and they sell a lot of magic-related stuff, Houdini stuff. They have a really good audience for Houdini material. You want to guess what this sold for? The Houdini Bible?
You got to give me more details. What is it? Is it a Bible he used growing up?
It's a Bible inscribed and signed, and there's a trick here.
Wait a minute.
That makes this super interesting that you're going to like.
He gave this Bible to somebody?
Yeah, inscribed and signed to Dunninger, Best Wishes, Houdini, November 30, 1925.
Well, but that's not his Bible then. It's a Bible he gave away.
Well, okay, there's a twist. So I'm going to say that this sold for $102,000 in 2021.
There better be a twist.
Yeah. The estimate was $15,000 to $25,000, and the Houdini Bible, two people had to have it, one person ended up with it, $102,000. But I think this Bible is going to be more appealing to you.
Well, it is already, but that's a big number.
It's appealing to you because it's more money, or just as Houdini?
No, because it's Houdini.
Houdini had a select few of these Bibles made to order to present a clever feat of mind reading. And only 4 have survived.
Wait a minute. So he used this Bible for his mind reading tricks.
Okay, yeah, and here's the trick.
So if I had the Bible, I could mind read.
Right. Well, if you had Houdini's abilities, but it says the Bible was prepared in a manner so as to allow the magician to read the mind of a spectator. When the volunteer flipped to any page in the Bible, the mind reader could instantly determine which chapter and verse the reader was gazing upon with unfailing accuracy.
Imagine having people over the house.
Yeah.
You take out Houdini's Bible and you do Houdini's trick using Houdini's Bible. Different stratosphere for Mick Jagger.
This is why magic doesn't do it for me, because it like the Bible has a trick in it, right? So it's
great.
It's not okay. So that's why I don't love magic, because I know there's always some gimmick in there.
Houdini was big on saying he's not doing magic. There was a letter I had years ago where he talked to school children. He was asked to give his advice to school children, and he said, hard work. This isn't magic. I'm not doing miracles. I'm practicing something over and over and over again.
That's edifying.
So at forum auctions, there's something that caught my eye, and I bookmarked it to look at later. And then I kept that's my key, by the way. When I'm going through an auction, I go through quickly and I just kind of bookmark things. And then if I walk away and if I think about it later, unprompted, I'm going for a stroll.
Sounds nice.
And I think, oh, let me think about that again. Then I know I should go back and look at it again.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the smell test.
Okay. The stroll test.
Stroll test. That's the stroll test.
Yeah.
Okay. It's lot 128 in their upcoming sale on the 29th of May.
Yep.
It's a P.G. Wodehouse manuscript from one of his early novels from 1909. Smith USA, which was later called Smith Journalist. It's a manuscript. It's not a manuscript leaf. It is a manuscript.
Yeah. 175 pages.
That's a lot of manuscript.
Yeah.
And
it's not the whole thing.
Aha. But there's a story. See?
Okay.
Does that bother you?
No.
Because there's a story of why it's not the whole thing.
Tell the story.
Well, Wodehouse eventually, so this was published serially first, and then he reworked it, and he took out those chapters. The surmising is that these chapters are missing because he took them out to rework. So the Smith books are some of his earliest books, and that's what gave him a name. Like he was struggling. He was a struggling writer until these books came out.
Yeah. This is the first book, I think, when he starts to bring his British character to the United States and explore some of the comedic possibilities of that.
Now, we keep saying Smith, but if you look at it, it's P-S-M-I-T-H. So he'd introduce himself and say, my name is Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But to differentiate from other Smiths, the P is silent. And then people would be scratching their head being like, where's the P? And he'd be like, it's the P is silent, like in shrimp.
Really?
Yeah. Come on, that's funny. Because there is a P in shrimp, and it's not silent.
I know that. I'm well aware.
It's funny.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
See, you don't appreciate humor, and you don't appreciate magic.
Almighty.
It's really funny.
I'll tell you what I love about Wodehouse. I love his titles. I love the titles of his books, and I'll tell you 2 reasons why. Anybody who would publish a book with the title "The Intrusion of Jimmy," I am already a fan. Like,
or better, he wrote a book about me right around this time.
You,
yeah, just called Mike.
Mike, yeah.
Not kidding. That's not a joke.
Yeah, I know. But the titles are so funny. I mean, they're so flat and just weird.
Mike.
Yeah, like The Adventures of Jeff or whatever. But the other thing that I think is cool about Wodehouse, right? If you are an aspiring writer and you see that this guy has so much success and published so many books with titles like The Intrusion of Jimmy,
Yeah.
Like I think that would give you might give you the confidence to, sally forth and try to become a writer. You could come up with your own title of
Love Among the Chickens. That's a good one.
Yeah, something like that kind of thing. Exactly right. It's sort of like anything's possible. Wodehouse.
I was going to say I've read a lot of Wodehouse, but I haven't because I've listened to a lot of Wodehouse.
Oh.
There's this narrator, Jonathan Cecil. He was a British actor, and you can find these narrations out. They are so funny. He does all the voices. Every long drive, I'd put one of the novels on. They are laugh out loud funny. They are absolutely hilarious books.
Thank you. I'll check that out.
Yeah, no, he's hilarious. So let's get back to this.
Yeah.
So as we said, this is a manuscript for Smith USA, which became Smith Journalist.
Yeah. Tell us about the manuscript. What is this?
The manuscript is a fair copy, which means that it was ready to go and handed off, they presume, and it seems, all the evidence indicates this, handed off to someone to type up. So you don't get to see him really working things out. There are some changes, some line crossings and all that sort of thing. Yeah. Would you rather have this more complete, fair copy, or would you rather have 100 pages of notes and crossouts and scratches and really rewriting in front of you, and a version that's quite different from the final version? Because you see these 2 types of things come on the market.
Yeah, you do. That's a good question. I think I'd go for the crossouts.
I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the fair copy, though, has a bit of prestige because you can read a book through the manuscript form.
Yeah.
Which is wild. But I love seeing notes. But this is the whole manuscript. So there aren't many. Wodehouse wrote a gazillion books, give or take. And there aren't many manuscripts. Surprisingly, they're out there. I've seen ones from books from later in his career, the 60s and 70s. But this is really early.
Yeah, very substantial.
And pretty amazing.
And important in the trajectory of his career.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He's introducing a lot of the themes, a lot of the style, a lot of the humor. I love it. And the estimate is
15 to 20,000 pounds.
15 to 20,000 pounds.
Now, this has been up at auction before.
I know that.
Okay. So this passed in 2019 at Bonhams in the UK. The estimate was 20 to 30,000 pounds. But
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah. In 1998, it sold at Sotheby's for $27,600.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And in 1982, it's the same manuscript sold for $5,500.
I missed that 1998 record.
Yeah.
You know what? That's just a bad day, the Bonhams one.
I think that's a bad day.
But it's interesting. The fact that that's out there, if somebody does their due diligence, they may be hesitant to really go for it.
Okay. Now,
is that a black mark against it? 6 years ago.
You know what this made me think of?
No.
It made me think of the Arthur Conan Doyle manuscript that sold last year at Sotheby's.
For a lot of money.
A lot of money, right? It's the... it was described as the most significant Sherlock Holmes manuscript extant, and it sold for $960,000. And it was
but what was it? It was one of the big books.
So this was a complete autographed manuscript for the Sign of the Four, right?
Yeah, that's astonishing.
Well, okay, if you're a Wodehouse fan, wouldn't the present manuscript have a reasonably comparable impact for you as a collector?
The Sign of Four is a much more important book.
Who cares? What if you're forget about the money. What if you're a Wodehouse fan? Like, you love Wodehouse. This is an amazing manuscript to get.
It is. The fact that it doesn't have Jeeves and Wooster in it for me sours it a little bit, but it precedes Jeeves and Wooster. I love it. I see what you're saying, but the price disparity is going to be enormous anyway.
Exactly. That's my point. And so my point really is that manuscripts like this, for a collector who is actually a fan of Wodehouse or Doyle or, Tolkien, we've seen that. The personal connection from the collector to the author is so profound. To have a favorite author working through a major book and you've got it in manuscript form. I mean, that is spectacular. And there are Wodehouse fans.
It is spectacular. Right. Of course there are.
So
now that estimate sounds so. I'm so confused about it passing upon. It's like I'm really confused.
Right. So my thought went to this Doyle manuscript because, sure, that might have gone to just a collector of literature, but it might also have gone to a collector who is just passionate. And there are people like this. There's a whole, there are fan clubs for Doyle all over the place, it's the same as, I don't know if there are fan clubs for Wodehouse, but he's a beloved author. And for the way you were talking about this manuscript and your joy of listening to the audiobooks,
yeah,
I don't think you're the only one out there.
But you know what it is? When somebody makes you laugh and smile and feel good about life, like Wodehouse does, then you have affection for the author. But I think in the marketplace, comic writing doesn't carry the same heft price-wise.
So you think, like, if the manuscript of Don Quixote came in the market alongside War and Peace, you'd be like, oh, War and Peace is going to blow Cervantes out of the water.
That's a ridiculous analogy. Because Don Quixote's funny and wonderful and profound and all that sort of thing. So if we're saying that Wodehouse is not profound, but he brings you joy, I'm in deep thought now.
The reason I mentioned the Doyle manuscript is because, that made $1 million. Actually, at the time, I thought that was going to go for quite a bit more.
So did I.
I was very surprised at the price of that, but that's a different topic. But
I'm feeling bad for comic writers now.
Let it go.
No, you don't agree?
I'm not sure I do. I don't know. I mentioned Cervantes for a reason. That's a comedy.
It's more than a comedy.
How much should the Wodehouse go for?
I think it's going to go for $55,000.
It's interesting because there are two price results or one non-result that point in completely different directions.
Yeah. If you take 27,000 whatever in 1998, that would be a fortune right now.
Right. If you took 27,000 in 1998, I think you'd be looking at easily 150,000.
Right. They're pointing in different directions.
Right. And then, so one marker is saying 150,000 to me, minimum. And the other one is saying, 50, 60. That's the past result in 2019.
That past one's really bothering me.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We're going to have data.
I'm telling you, though, the intrusion of Jimmy. I mean, that is...
Right, you got to get over that.
No, I marvel at it. I marvel that somebody would sit down and write a book and then slap that on as the title, The Intrusion of Jimmy. It's like angel food cake. It's so light.
See?
Sweet.
And people
delicious.
like angel food cake.
I'm saying this in admiration. I might even say adulation. The Intrusion of Jimmy, to me, the idea that there's a book published with that title brings me joy.
See, that was Woodhouse's role. Very nice.